weekly speakers spot. Wait, there already. It's only 7:36. What's going on? Every week at Business at Breakfast, one of the members gets to share with the group further insights into their business or enlighten the group a little bit more about themselves. The members can use the time to problem solve or seek assistance from the group as a collective. The time is theirs to use however they would like. Going through my list of people that are in today, I found someone. Here we go. Do you know that for everybody that's in today, almost everybody has done a speaker spot this year, which is virtually unheard of, but we had this same problem last week. Here we go. Mr. Hollander, welcome back. So I've known Ted over at another group called Better Change, and we've been over there, a couple of months together. And so it's really neat to have you over here. Actually, I think that's where I met Ben Rusk, Patricia Valak. Actually, there's a number of us from the number of people from over there that stay over here too, and very different groups. So this one gives us a chance to sort of really spotlight a member each week. So Ted, thought I'd pull you out. Look, it's always good to know about accounting and business stuff, and you already gave me a bit of insight of looking at things from the wrong direction already. So you're over in America. You're an accountant, but you do all this other business stuff too. You said you're a professional controller, or rather you teach businesses how to look after their stuff, control it professionally. So based off that, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do your elevator pitch again, and then give us a quick history as to how you came about doing this. Accounting. Now, I know initially you leave school and you become, you do the course, but how is it that you do it from the angle of which you do it? Then stop talking, and I'm sure that we have plenty of questions to ask you.
I hope this will be a dialogue. The elevator speech goes this way, the full one. I'm Ted Hollander. I'm a CPA here in Chicago. My business is COMPLUS Incorporated. We are professional controllers. We lead accounting teams for small companies. We look for companies that are too big for the owner to run with just a checkbook and too small to hire a full-time chief financial officer. The job really is to enable a business owner to understand the business so he or she can run the business without feeling blindfolded. Again, my name is Ted Hollander. You always pay for good accounting, one way or another. The follow-up question to that, which maybe the audience would like to weigh in on, is what do you think the biggest cost of bad accounting is?
Taxes.
Well, I'd say your whole business, actually. The rest of life, bad accounting.
About a third of your revenues, one way or another. And as I indicated earlier, if you really want to influence taxes, remember elections have consequences. Okay, but taxes probably aren't the biggest cost of bad accounting.
What's the biggest cost of bad accounting?
Well, my suggestion is that the biggest cost of bad accounting is the no that you get at the bank. How many $1 million plus deals do you suppose have been scuttled because bankers who know how to read financial statements see information that looks like it was prepared by a 5-year-old, or worse yet, is just plain wrong, and therefore they don't trust you. So they won't lend you any money and let you pursue your dreams the way you would like to. Like it or not, most of our dreams take some money to, to get going, usually more than we have. So the money providers use information that they get from us and about us to decide whether they can trust us, because the promises we make to them may take several years to fulfill. If they don't trust you, why should they lend you any money? Why should they provide any capital? Bad, or let's say good accounting, is an indication of trust. One of the things I suggest to bankers that they do when they're considering lending money to somebody that they don't know, at least very well anyway, is interview the folks in the accounting functions for the businesses that they're considering lending to, looking for a characteristic that they hope they don't find. What do you suppose that might be? Any ideas?
That you're good at saving?
I suggest that the banker look for yes people. Everybody know what a yes man is?
Not in your
Yes
turn.
man. Yes man is the person who just will tell the boss whatever he wants to hear. That will produce a potential problem for third parties trying to trust what a bank, what a business does. You need people in the accounting function, especially, who are dedicated to telling the truth first. That's what will create trust among folks. Okay. If a business owner hires only yes people, that's a guy you don't want to trust, because he's never going to be aware of the things that he needs to know about before they become problems. Okay, so the accounting function, let's say the accounting function's job is to keep everybody informed, to make sure people are aware of what the truth is, so that they are likely to make better choices. Any questions?
Anessa, you got your hand up?
I do. What are your thoughts on the book Profit First? Do you like that way of distributing the money and that cash flow?
I haven't read that particular book, but let's say one of the axioms in the business world is that if you can't make a profit, if you can't sell your product for more than it costs you to make it, eventually the business will die.
Yep, I agree. Absolutely agree. Must have profit. I used to have this trouble with, I worked for Apple for a while, for a couple of years actually. And I had a young kid who, he started there in the sales floor before I started working there. And he went in and asked, oh, really love your products. Can I work for you? And they had an opening. And so they hired him as a salesman. And he could talk to people about the computers and he loved it. He just was rubbish at selling them. And I asked him one day, I said, why are you so bad at this? And he said, because I don't believe in businesses making profit. And I said, here's an interesting thing. You asked to be paid for this job. So you're making a profit every week for just turning up and refusing to make a profit for the company. So we all work off profit. Profit is important.
A fun lunchtime conversation is about the rhetorical question: if you can make something for a nickel, is it ethical to sell it for $100?
I'm going to say yes, because I believe in money. The more money you have, the more you can move it around. And so it's good for everybody. If you work out the math, it's actually good for everybody.
The issue is the only place where cost is important relative to selling price is that somehow or other you got to be able to sell it for more than you make or more than it costs you. Otherwise, the business will fail. Mm-hmm. The point is, the selling price should be based on what is the value to the customer. If it's worth $100 to the customer, fine. If it costs you a nickel to make it, absolutely wonderful. Okay. There's lots of margin. The reason why the price probably wouldn't stay that high, considering the cost that you have, is that maybe somebody else can make this something similar for $20 and is willing to sell it for $80 and make a $60 margin. But in that particular case, if you need $60 of margin in order to survive, then you can bring your price down to let's say you can bring your price down and down and down until, let's say, until the cost of making it doesn't leave you with a $60 margin, and that'll drive everybody essentially out of business. So if you keep if from a customer's point of view, if you keep driving the prices down, you drive your vendors out of business.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think the next generation, like the kids, my kids, so I've got 12 and 14, I don't think they're going to have a problem with profit like we have in the past. There's YouTubers out there, and my boys will bring it up every now and then, particularly the youngest, he'll bring it up. He says, oh, just watch this great YouTube. Can't think of the guy's name. But a couple of years ago, he started putting out these YouTube videos of how he started with a paperclip and ended up with a house. And he'd just swap it, right? So he'd get a paperclip and he'd just swap a paperclip for, say, 20 cents with somebody else. And then he'd swap that 20 cents for some lollies at a store. And so he'd get some lollies and he'd sell them at 50 cents each. And then he'd get that money and he'd just keep swapping back and forth. And so they considered it swapping versus, any of that profit or anything. So as a result, my kids don't see profit as a problem. They just see it as it's a swapping something for something that you want more, and that the value's already in there, because if you want that thing more than you want the thing you're swapping it for, cash or otherwise, that's how it turns out. And so, the guy went around and took about 7 days to get a house, and a lot of hard work behind it. But there's been a number of different ones, start with a pen and swap it for house, cars, those sort of things. They're quite interesting to watch the whole thing progress, but ultimately that's sales for you. You still got to only sell. Here's the secret to sales: sell one thing at a time, just one thing, for one person, and then you just keep going from there, right? You don't have to have 50 things, just sell one thing at a time. Thank you, Ted, for jumping in and speaking today.